Maxey catches and gets a screen, leans in, tries to draw the foul, shoot the three, and makes it, and they do call the foul. And Maxey for a three straight away. It's good! 8 seconds to go, he made it! And the Sixers keep their season alive. 112-106. Maxey with 46 points. An incredible game where it looked like their season was going to come to an end.
I mean, a performance for the ages. Maxey tying Allen Iverson's franchise record for most points to avoid elimination, tying Michael Jordan's record for most points by visiting player in a playoff game at the Garden. We have more guests coming in to talk about an incredible night in the NBA playoffs in a few minutes. But right now, let's spin it forward in the NFL. If you know us, you know we love two things. One, we love football, and two, we love when Jeff Darlington spins things. So, Jeff, I'd like you to spin some things forward for us. And Lewis hates this, by the way. Just look at the look on Lewis. He hates this.
So does half of America.
It's
a very divisive
tiring
segment.
just watching you. So tiring. I
He
mean,
hates it.
God
All right, let me
forbid,
get a few.
God forbid we inject your life with a little bit of happiness, Lou. You know what I mean?
All right, let's spin it forward. In Minnesota, could we see J.J. McCarthy starting as soon as week 1?
Absolutely. And let me tell you why. It isn't just about his ability. It's about the fact that this is a guy who's going into a situation with Kevin O'Connell where I talked to O'Connell about this, and he has a very specific plan in place for J.J. McCarthy. He's going to be surrounded by coaches who are completely invested in making sure that he gets the proper development. They do have Sam Darnold available if McCarthy isn't ready. I just think that the expedited process of his development is going to be such that he will be ready for week 1.
Lewis, if we're looking into the crystal ball, how early do you expect to see J.J. McCarthy become that team starter?
I think, look, sooner rather than later. Greeny, I would say within the first half of the season for sure. Look, I'm with Jeff, 1,000% on this, shockingly. Listen, this football team has been set up to welcome in whichever of these young quarterbacks that it was going to be ultimately in a way that I think is very uniquely qualified. Look, I talked to Josh McCown at the Combine, and he said, look, the number one thing that Kevin O'Connell has in place is a system that provides answers for quarterbacks, both young and old. They will never be at a loss for answers as it relates to what defenses are trying to do and what they can do to counteract that and make sure that they stay on the offensive. If I'm J.J. McCarthy right now, I couldn't think of, honestly, and this isn't to throw shade at Chicago, because I think it's a fantastic situation too. But Kevin O'Connell right now, along with the offensive staff up there and the weapons that they have and offensive line they have, is a young quarterback's dream. And I think McCarthy is going to benefit from that in ways that we all ideally hope that young quarterbacks can benefit.
I'm with that one completely. All right, Jeff, spin this one forward for me. We expected the 49ers maybe to trade Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk. They didn't, and they still took Ricky Pearsall, a wide receiver, at the end of the first round. What does that mean?
Well, I can tell you this. The 49ers, at least at this point, appear to be going into the 2024 season really believing that this could be a huge year for them. Now, we should also point out, though, that they do, of course, have Brandon Ayuk, and they also have Deebo Samuel in the mix here. Could they still listen to offers for both of those guys? Absolutely. But based on my conversations, this is a situation, by the way. Hold on, we should point out this is Louis Riddick's face. This is a situation, by the way, where I think at this point the 49ers believe that this will be a major year for them, and then a huge decision looming when it comes to whether they keep Ayuk or Deebo following this season.
I'm going to tie together. I can't get enough of this. I hope it's as funny at home as it is in here.
It.
I'm actually going to tie together, in the interest of time, our two topics here, because the next one was going to be about the Bills. And Lewis, I'll tie them together, because Mike Tannenbaum pointed out to me repeatedly, Brandon Ayuk might become available. Deebo Samuel might become available. Maybe the Bills make that move. The Bills did draft a receiver, Keon Coleman, at the beginning of round 2. Is that enough? Do they have enough in Buffalo right now to still be a legitimate contender in a jam-packed AFC?
Yeah, I think that they do. Look, because I think, look, the running game is going to be even stronger with the drafting of Ray Davis out of Kentucky. I think the fact that Keon Coleman is going to be one of those guys who, despite the fact that he is not a barn burner, okay, he's not a 4-2 guy, he's not Xavier Worthy. He His functional speed is fantastic. His ability to high punt the football is fantastic. His ability to run after the catch is fantastic. And I think it fits perfectly with Dalton Kincaid. It fits perfectly with Khalil Shakir. And I think they will go ahead and now they will utilize all these guys to their strengths and minimize their weaknesses. And they will be better on defense to the point where Buffalo just has that in their DNA. They're going to be contenders. They're a very well-coached football team. And they still have Josh Allen. So it's not like all of a sudden we're going to feel sorry for Buffalo. And on top of it, look, their salary cap situation is such that I don't think they're in a position right now to where they want to make some, gigantic move to try and bring in some high-priced veteran and upset everything else that they're trying to get done up there in a nice, methodical, salary cap responsible type of way. Keon Coleman, though, make no mistake about this. He has to be big. He has to be, and we talked about it at the draft at the beginning of day 2, when he went off the board immediately at the top of round 2. He has to play like a first rounder. I think he will play like a first rounder because that's just the way they do it in Buffalo, and they have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, as you see on your screen.
They traded out of the spot that became Xavier Worthy. They traded out of the spot that became Xavier Legette. So they identified Coleman clearly as the guy they wanted. Very quickly, Jeff, you seem to be nodding along. Should we be expecting Buffalo to make another move?
The only thing I'll say is the cap situation is the problem, but Tre'Davious White, his release actually becomes formal after June 1st, free up a little bit of money, but again, it's still going to cost a lot. Brandon Beane pointed out that these guys are costing upwards of $30 million to get a wide receiver at this point, so yep. I still think it's going to be very difficult for them to do that.
All right, Jeff, spin one more thing for us before we say goodbye. I'll
spin Lewis's face. Yeah. How about that? Should we spin Lewis's face? Hey, you know what I mean, Lou? Like, I'm just glad to be here. I'm like the Chihuahua. He's like an old, tired Rottweiler, and I'm just a Chihuahua constantly. He hates
Jeff, you know what? You better be glad I love you like I do,
He's so
bro.
angry.
You better be glad I love you like I do.
You're the old Rottweiler.
You know you're my guy.
Chihuahua nipping you're my. You know what I mean?
We never shortchange the football on this show. Thank you guys both so much this morning.